and all the things that are happening within the environment. So thank you so much.
Well, and I'm gonna plug next week because you're on with me next week, and I'm looking forward to going even deeper with all of this, both the sustainability and the writing side, actually, because I have that background for sustainability as well, for things that I've done. So I'm looking forward to that. And then let's go up to my dear sis, Dr. CJ. I mean, on one hand, no, you don't need an introduction, maybe, but you get to introduce yourself anyway. Talk a little bit about what you're doing. I feel like she froze.
Yeah.
I think she did. Oh,
She disappeared.
yeah.
Okay, well, she'll be back.
Yeah,
No.
She is back. There she
Yeah.
is.
I was frozen. I don't know what's happening. I did an update and you're like, oh, good thing at least my face was not like frozen the whole time. So yeah, I love this project. I had an anxiety a little bit because this project was started because of Paulette's ideas like, hey, maybe you should start something without a theme where people just kind of share their stories and you don't have a theme. And my brain is very structured. So I was like, no theme. Are you kidding me? What do you mean? So I sat there for a week and I said, that's a good idea just to see how many people that we can. And I was really hoping it would be a small group of people because editing something that's not structured is breaking my brain. Okay. My background is academia, so I like structure from A to B to AC to, like, if you see something that's really super organized in academia, that's me. And then you tell me just write whatever. I'm like, what do you mean write whatever? How am I gonna edit whatever? I had issues. Okay. And then so I was so happy. Like, I think sometimes when you stress too much about perfection, you actually can't get your creative juices flowing. But when I let go and said, you know what? I'm going to check for structure in their thoughts rather than structure in the story, right? Like the thoughts that they have and see where I could put it. And I know I did a lot on Homer's structure because, first of all, I was so emotional and proud of him because there were things in that story that he said, please don't tell anybody. This was December of last year. He told me, don't tell anybody. And then I read his story and I'm like, are you drunk? Did you write this? Like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll edit it. I'll make it beautiful. Um, but I'm proud of you for saying, F it. It's fine. I don't care. I'm going to let it go. This is me. Take me for who I am. And if you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. Right. And I love that. I love the authenticity that just came with it. And owning your own vulnerability is actually a strength. Just because if anyone wants to talk behind your back, they can't. You literally just outed yourself. So who cares now? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know? And I love that. I think it's freeing more than you think you know. It's going to actually take months. Will you realize, wow, that feels good. Like, I don't have to worry about that in the back of my head. It's freeing. And thank you for believing in me. And I know I can be a pest sometimes. I asked you last year, like, Homer, are you sure you don't want, I don't give opportunities for people I don't believe in. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to waste my time. I literally will charge you $500 an hour, okay, on normal circumstance. And so for me to like dig deep, like, Homer, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't push people. I don't think that there's something in there. And I know that you sometimes just need time to realize your own potential that you can do it. And so I love it. And then when I asked Jay and he's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, yes, I'm glad he did that because I felt like someone was pushing on my, and I haven't told you this, Jay, but I felt like someone was pushing on my shoulder saying, it's going to be good for this specific anthology. And I didn't know what you're going to write about, but it really relates back, loop back a year from today when we had this Beyond Boundaries. When we went and I took 27 authors everywhere, but also planted 27 trees in Madagascar, right? And when you said yesterday you're planting trees, I'm like, isn't that awkward and weird? Like I went loop back 100, like 360. And I'm planting trees, and Susana planted trees, 10 of them. I started one, and then she added more trees in Honduras. So whatever we get from our writing, really, and whatever books that you buy, we give back to our community. We don't keep it. We go with nonprofit. Rebel with a Cause was mental health. Against the Grain was, confronting domestic violence. We're not rich people, guys, but we literally give back to our community where it's needed, or at least what we feel it's needed for nonprofit, right? Because somebody has to care. Somebody has to care. And always remember that even if some some people don't agree with you, there will always some people that won't agree with you. Keep going anyway, because this life is not meant for them. Your life is meant for you. So keep going, right? Sister, should we tell them about this or not yet?
It's
We
not-
have a news for you guys, like a mystery news. Not yet. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. You know what? Can I summarize my own, since you guys, I gave you a summary of your own story,
Go for it.
or do you want to summarize mine since you edited mine?
I'm not in the bandwidth to summarize yours right now. sis.
Okay. So Sana and I went to bed at 1 something, and I didn't go to bed till 3 something. Oh, and I wake up at 6. Anyway, the power of makeup. So this is my summary for my story. I said, in Cheerio, my unlikely teacher, I share the heartwarming and transformative story of my beloved English bulldog named Cheerio. I have 2, by the way. Cheerio is a small, wobbly puppy who defied the odds and taught profound life lessons through her resilience, stubbornness, and unwavering love. And I mean stubbornness with a capital S. From the moment my family met her, it was clear that she was different. She was actually born with a weak leg. She struggled to walk, but she showed incredible determination to keep going. Now, despite early doubts and exhausting care required, actually, my husband cared and raised her. Very first time in our marriage, he raised bulldogs. Um, she would call me every 5 minutes, actually, guys, and said, "This dog is broken. We got to give it back." And I'm like, "Why?" She is pooping everywhere. And I'm like, "Okay, ask the breeder. Maybe there's something." And so he called the breeder. He's like, "I think your dog is broken." She goes to the bathroom every 2 seconds, and the breeder's like, "Well, how often do you feed her?" And my husband's like, "All the time." And the breeder's like, "Well, that's your problem, because you feed her all the time, so she got to go all the time. So if you feed her only twice a day, 3 times, then that's when she goes." And then my husband bought a playpen, like a pink playpen for her, and she trashed that one too. So he bought another one. He trashed that one too. But our relationship really deepened because she's my emotional support, like literally, right? And Susanna actually is funny because sometimes we would be talking. She's like, "Why do I hear Cheerio in my kitchen?" And I was like, "Because she got to your head." She snores a lot. My students actually know. And they say, "Dr. Leland, are you in your bedroom? Like, is your husband snoring?" And I'm like, "No, that's my English bulldog, guys." She's snoring. If I lock the door, our German Shepherd would open the door to let her in. That's how annoying she is. And but her legacy is not just about her surviving, but in a way that she lived, the stubborn grace, the fears, the loyalty, and her presence in every moment. So that's my story.
And I love the story. I love how you wrote it and all the lessons out of it. So it's a beautiful story. And what I want to get, because we're talking about the writing part now, and from each of you, I want to get an idea, especially from Homer, Al, and Jay, what it was like to go through the writing process, to take your story, especially when it was a story that goes into a book that has no theme. So you don't know what anybody else is doing. You don't know if what you wrote is going to align with anybody else until you see the final product, until we go through everybody's going through their chapters. So what was the process like? How did it feel, and how comfortable or not were you to write and then to see what it ended up as getting published? Start with Homer.
Oh, okay. So that's a very good question. Well, honestly speaking, uh, doctor already mentioned about having me wrote something like that. So back then in my high school days, I really loved writing already. It's like a one way for me to really like vent out or tell some talk to myself, something like that. But my struggle is that how can I be able to like have it constructive, something like that. Something holds me back. Maybe what are the what if like in terms of the technical stuff, if it's right or whatnot. So when the second time around, like Dr. CJ offered me this, so we actually chatted in WhatsApp, and I told her that um, sabi saya pa, ikaw na bahala te. I already in English. It's like it's all on you. I already put my heart and soul to it. So what I want you to do here is just let the people know who I am really, because I think everything starts there. I need to introduce to people who is Homer Del Campo. Maybe I can unlike you, Susanna and Doctor, you already established me. People don't know me. Even here in Davao City where I live, somebody's still asking who is Homer Del Campo. So I need to start from the basic so that if I would like to go big, I have to go back to where I really started. Because I would like to be somebody, and how can I be somebody if not every single in my hometown doesn't know about me? And Dr. CJ is right. Like I don't care. Like everybody will accept me or whatnot, because this is me. I'm trying to search something to every places, to every career, every path that I would like to take, and something's that really not working. Something is really missing. So that's everything started there. So I just have it, you know, have it have it piece by piece, and what really have it highlighted in me, like when I there's like an image right there that really like made me cry. So I'm very excited to have that imparted, and that's the very exciting part of that story. So I hope that it will resonate, especially on our current situation right now. So there.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'm glad that you finally got into it. How about for you, Al, for the writing process, and what was it like? Because I'm not sure if this was a first time for you to write or not.
Yeah, it's the very, very first time. Because I always had the book in me many, many years back, when some of the gurus that come to Kuala Lumpur, to come to Malaysia to teach, they teach you how to write a book and make it published and all that. One of the gurus is called Robert G. Allen. I think he's one of the very pioneers in the author industry. So, and then he was trying to teach that, and then there's money along the way. Sometimes I go like a junkie on seminars and all that during my time. When I go there and always thinking I got a book in me and all that. What do I need to write? Because, yeah, and this opportunity came out so promptly. I mean, at this situation. Even when Jay was having his storytelling on LinkedIn audio. I participated in it, and also listened to a lot of people sharing their own stories and all that. So it was very inspiring. And basically, eventually, I thought, why not I write my own story? Since I started from one path and going to a different path, altogether, it's like a 360-degree turn. Coming from an chemical engineer background, you're doing laboratory work, building up chemical formulas, designing processes for the equipment and all that. Eventually, it ended up in the entertainment industry. So which is a totally separate industry. And what people think is, why are you changing the industry totally? And then it was just a spur of the moment, and this time is the best time for me, because this is the time to encourage more people, to get into the industry, to tell their own story and put it down on pen and paper. And more people will come out and be authentic to themselves. It's like like what Dr. Constant was saying, you just do it, you don't think about whether the team is in the story and all that. Just a ready, fire, aim. So you just have to go through that stages. Just don't think too much, and just start writing yourself. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, and for you, it's like, yeah, how do you go from? I mean, they're related, right? Working in going from industry to industry, they're both industries, so they're the same, right?
One is product, one is human being. So it's a totally different. The human being's character and behaviors are totally different thing. It's more emotions related into the industry. You have to talk to the talent, you have to nurture them and all that. So sometimes they have a bad mood and all that. So it's not easy to control in the talent industry and compared to the product industry. Product industry, if the product is wrong, it's our specs. Then you cannot sell the product. That's all. So totally two different things altogether. Yeah, so very interesting.
I know I love it, and for you, Jay, because I know this isn't your first time for writing. However, I'm curious in terms of just the process and what it was like for you, and what you see coming next.
Sure, absolutely. So first off, my first thought when Dr. Lena invited me was, I have to come up with something that won't disappoint not just the audience but her as well, because I really look up to her and value her insight and her opinion. So I just wanted to make sure that I gave something that would be of value and of worth to the audience. And when I do that, when I put myself in the audience's shoes, I really want to see how I can not only reach the avatar that I'm looking at or looking for, but do it in such a way that is going to maybe spur some thoughts to change something either in their lives or in other people's lives. And that has been kind of my modus operandi for the length of what I've been doing with Storytime with Jay and Friends. And most recently with publishing my book, The Rules of Engagement in Storytelling, it's living in my purpose of being a storyteller. And one of the things that during the process of writing this, it sounded so academic at one point that I was like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want it to sound like something that you would read in a textbook. Although the books are now coming out to be textbooks, right?
Yep.
I said, let me put a bit of my soul and myself in it. And so I included a chant. And I thought this is something that, because we're talking about indigenous populations making a positive impact on the globe. I'm an indigenous person of the Pacific, and so I wanted to share the Chamorro side of me, a really marginalized community. So those were some of the things that I thought about and some of the processes that I worked through when writing the piece.
And how was the process of just working with, in this case, most everything you did was working with CJ. So how was it working with her?
If she wrote something to me that would say, you know what, you need to go back to the drawing board, or hey, so first off, she only received 600 words of the entire 2,000 word piece. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? Let me send it to you again. But I didn't get the part where people would be, hey, you need to redo this piece. People aren't going to get this. People don't understand this. I was waiting for it, to be honest. I was like, kind of on pins and needles. And so when I don't, as a writer, when I don't get like big feedback, like you need to rewrite this whole thing, sometimes it feels good, and sometimes it's like, ooh, am I missing the mark here? So that was kind of what I was thinking about.
Well, and when it comes to that, I think it really comes down to who you're working with, because both of us we don't have any problems with saying this isn't going to be understood, or even in some cases, thank you for sharing as deep as you did. Now let's take it a step back, because trying to say it's not publishable without saying it in so many words, because we've had to do that too, and so we want to make sure it's the best, and we want to make sure that what comes out is the best from everybody. But that doesn't mean that you have to go in and do a massive rewrite. So that's one of the things that I know both of us we're different in our approaches.
Yeah. I
But-
tend to be hands-on. I will change things for you. And I'm like, nope, that's not how it works. It's this one. I think for you, Jay, because it was cultural piece, I really love it. There was nothing in there structurally wise that I wanted to change. And as far as the chant, I'm not the expert on changing chants. So I ain't doing that. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Just like if Paulette is literally doing her spelling of behavior with an OUR, I'm not changing that because that is, their language. We respect the author's authenticity. But if there's things that we structure and we want to like, oh, this doesn't make sense because I don't get it. Oh yeah, you will see a restructure and edit in there. But I think for you, I love the way you write. It's because it had effort, but thought, and something that could be here for the next 100 years, and it means something for your great grandkids. So you really did capture your legacy quite well. There's not much of things that I would want to change in the structure because it wouldn't make sense. The way you had it was perfect. And Susanna and I last year we did 72 stories. So we have no problem editing. And
Yeah.
each of those stories are 3,000 words, people. Okay. So just imagine that. And then on top of that, I had an additional book. She had an additional book. And I had 4 other magazines that I write. It's fifth one's coming out, right? So I have physical and online magazines that I write. So I have no problem editing, but yours didn't need an edit. It was perfect the way it was. It just needs a little restructuring here and there, but the chat was good. I think my feedback would be for anybody who's trying to write a book is don't do analysis by paralysis and make your draft perfect at the beginning. So Sana does not do structure. She doesn't do structure. She just writes how she feels. I can't do it unless it's a journal. When I write a book, I actually start with a title. And then I stay in that title and make it feel like, okay, can I talk about this? Can I see this? And most of the time, title should be last actually when you write, not the beginning. My brain cannot go reverse like that. So I think about the title. I'm like, what is it? But I'll change the title as I go along. But I have to have a title to like a set of foundation for me. And then I can write 5,000 words in an hour, no problem. But if I don't feel that title is good for me, I can't write. I'm just like, But I structure pretty much. You'll see it on my writing. It's pretty structured, and that is the best I could do without going academics. And it's funny that you said that because this book was the first that I spent good money, and I did not ask any of these 27 people to pay me back or anything. The reason is because I spent really good money in getting this book everywhere. I had press releases. I bought an ISBN. I put it on a publisher. I didn't self-publish this in Amazon. It's published somewhere else because it was a testing ground of how can we publish anthologies, right? That's differentiating Level Up Academy than other people who does anthology. Most people go and do anthology, they go to Amazon, right? Listen, guys, Amazon is in 13 countries. How many countries do you think we have in the world? My podcast goes to 140 countries. And any of the anthologies that you guys have, I guarantee you they're not in 6 continents and 140 countries. your story will be there. That's another differentiator. This just went to Booktopia, Goodreads, and there's the Netherlands huge cafe. Beyond Boundaries is on there. Miami University. Hello, when did that happen? So
Textbook, dear.
yeah, and that's why I'm saying, because I okay made sure that this had coverage, because Susanna lets me test all the time. She won't even question it. She's like, I said, sister, I'm testing it. She's like, no, you're always testing. Because when we say something like we're going to be a publisher, it's your responsibility to level your game up. Are you going to be a publisher only on Amazon, or are you going to be a publisher for the world? I'm not saying we're going to be the big, huge, big four publishers, but I'm saying you should level your game up no matter what game you're doing. If you're going to be a VA, be the best VA you ever possibly could. Don't sit there like, I already know this. No, you can't possibly know everything. Okay? Know as much as you can. I even feel stupid that I don't know this, and this when I looked at them, I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay, there's only 24 hours in a day, and I'm 20 of those hours, I'm usually up sometimes, right? And so when you say, how do you know a lot of things? Not because I sit and twiddle my thumb in here. It's because I study, I test, I create, I break things. Literally, I break things. And even though CEO don't want to give me don't want to hear feedback from me, I give them feedback anyway, especially if I'm paying for their platform. That's what we do. Susanna and I'm like, oh, this is not gonna fly right now. And Susanna's happy. I'm like, I'm emailing the CEO because this is broken. But that's just my personality, is to help, not to be mean, not to be critical. That's not. But I want everyone to be part of Level Up, to be proud of their work, and because I handle your credibility. So when you go on other people's anthology, really think about who you're attaching yourself for life. That's for life. You know that, right? So if someone else asks you, hey, be on my anthology, look them up. Look them up. Scour them and go to Google. What have they done? What are skid marks that they have done? I have people who's attached to me that are doing really good things, which is great. And I have people using my name at Level Up for their credibility, and I'm grateful for that. But they're not good people. They just happen to be part of Level Up last year or a year before that. And that's okay too. But really do your due diligence, because your personal brand is attaching your credibility. It takes years to build your credibility. It takes 10 seconds to break it. So please be careful who you attach yourself to for life. Okay? It's worse than marriage, guys. At least you can divorce, right? This credibility goes for life, even when you die. Okay? So please be careful where you attach your credibility to. Don't get super excited when someone asks you to be on their anthology, even for free, because that's your credibility down to the toilet. Just saying. Sister. Oh, it's not time yet, I don't think. What do you think?
Well, I wanted to kind of go back to the editing piece, because
Okay.
everybody that I've worked with, I kind of do editing two different ways. Sometimes I will go in and I will change things, and authors who have worked with me that have seen how I change things, then it's up to them whether they want to keep it or not. And other times I'll say, this section isn't making sense. I might give an idea as to how to write it, or just try and get them to see the picture and do the rewrite. And usually when that happens, what comes back is so much better than what they started with. So it's so much fun. And I want to know from Homer and Al and Jay, I want to get just a little bit more of a feel for what you guys thought about the editing process itself, starting with Homer.
It was challenging, and at the same time rewarding. Challenging because, of course, English is not my first language.
Exactly.
So yeah, and then I don't wanna like rely. Though AI nowadays is quite a bit like, threatening us sometimes as human, because you don't know, like you will be dependent to it as much as possible. I don't want to. FYI, I'm not really good in spelling, but most of the time, if I'm unsure of what I'm trying to put on or write on, I always maximize Google. As much as possible, I don't want to rely to AI, because if you're a reader and you will read what you're trying to read, you would really, sense that, hey, is this human writing? It's so perfect, something like that. So there's no missing of the terms and all that stuff, and that's what I'm trying to, you know to emphasize the way how I write my own piece. So like I wanna, have my me as me when I write my own output. So challenging and rewarding because I was able to come to that kind of, title, because I was really having a hard time. What is the best title that would really like reflect me as a whole? Because I'm back, something like that. Because I have to like, I have to imagine like who I am really am. Like I have to like imaginary like ride a time machine when I was started from scratch to, to level up my, my life, my career, together with my family, something like that. So I have to go back so that I will come up with this very wonderful output. And of course, with the help of, Level Up Academy team, which led by or spearheaded by Dr. CJ and you, Susanna. And also, it also inspired me by this following people right here, our my co-authors. So there, I was able to come up with somewhat like a very good title, and I even asked my brother how this how this sounds. Sounds. Bro, is it good? Siya, yeah, it's nice. And then I also think about gold because gold is my favorite color, or something like that. So, wow, yeah, it's cool.
And one of the things that I know for me, especially when we have the international authors, and it doesn't matter if they're English speaking or if English is their native, because it's like UK, different spellings, and or second language, and so it's new. The one thing that when I'm working with somebody, I try to make sure that it stays in the author's words. So if it is an international language where somebody it's a second language, I may not look at trying to make it as as I would write it, to have some of those the keys in there that say this is definitely Homer's or Al's or Jay's,
True.
or because I keep some of the terminology or some of the spelling to make sure that, or even sometimes I had a classmate that I kept some of the not quite right English to make sure that as I'm helping them, I'm not making it perfect, because it's just like AI. Then you see it and it's like, who is this? What about you, Al?
Yeah, I find it similar. Sometimes when I think of the past, I start writing the present tense and all that. So sometimes the grammatical error in the sentences, I just jumble out, here and there. But I'm appreciative of you, Susan, that you're helping me in correcting all those, the grammar, the sentence structures, and all those the nitty gritty, part of the fonts, and make sure that everything is all in perfect order, before you can actually doing that. And going through the draft was excellent, and also have a reading, a proofread and all those, during this one of the sessions, when we go on Zoom and we start to talk about it and all that, and how we can tweak our story to make it a better feeling, and like putting up the first paragraph, how to encourage and bring in the audience to read, to wanting to read more, the curiosity, to get into more depth of your chapters and all that. Mm-hmm. So that's very important, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that hook. And I'm going to take the hook aspect and take that to Jay. And it's like, how are you? How comfortable are you with, or what's your process for creating that hook to pull people into your story?
Well, as a Pacific Islander, we're surrounded by water, so we know all about hooks.
I love it. I love that.
So that's one of the things that we do, as storytellers, is figure out first who the audience is, which is important, but how do we grab their attention? What is it that's going to look pleasing, right? First of all, to bring them in. And one of the things that I had to talk to people about to dispel this myth that you can't judge a book by its cover. Oh, I'm sorry. As a storyteller, you definitely do that, right? And it's the personality where you have to deal with that kind of issue. But when it comes to storytelling, it's really important that first impression. And that is what I was thinking about. How can I make an impression on the reader, on the audience, so that they can then engage with what I've just written? And it's really important to be able to at least grab their attention first, and then your content is going to keep their attention. That's the important part of it. So all of these things will help other people in the future when they start to write. And I think one of the things about anthologies is once we're done and we can see the process and how it came together and how our stories either align or don't align, that then helps us figure out what we can do for ourselves as storytellers by ourselves, right? When we start to do it as a group, you start to see what we can do individually. And I think that's really important when it comes to anthologies. It allows storytellers to get their foot in the door, to get their feet wet, to move forward. And then now that we've had a taste of it, wow, what can we do next? Where is the next story going to come from? And are we going to have our own book in the future? So I'm really anxious, but also excited to see what Al, what what Homer can do, and what anybody else can do when they join anthology. So I'm really excited.
How about you, sis? Or is it time?
Yeah, because we have another meeting exactly at 10. So yes, it is time. Did you see my text? It's on LinkedIn. Did you see the LinkedIn?
The LinkedIn,
Go to message in LinkedIn, your message.
my message.
So didn't see it.
Oh,
And I texted her and I emailed her.
no. I'd seen it. I just now I understand why you gave it to me, which means I
Yeah.
have to go collect something really
I was
quick.
actually thinking while you're doing that, when you become part of Level Up Academy authorship, I call that, because we have a book club too, and we have an authors club. I want to actually take some of those 72 stories and elevate them more. Maybe we'll do a version 2 of Beyond Boundaries and ask some of the authors on here who actually are still staying with us, meaning we're still getting tagged, we're still getting conversations from these people. The ones who are engaged with us, I want to ask them to maybe do a version 2 like in September for Beyond Boundaries, since it's already literally is attached to 1,500 SEO links all over the world.
Uh-huh.
All over the world. And so I want to attach that and maybe expand it to new people with Beyond Boundaries theme and thriving in that. I wonder if I can do that. Maybe I can.
Well, first off, are you ready for? So we do have
A surprise.
news for everybody,
You
and
gotta show it. Can you show it?
I can show it right there.
Mm. Cool.
What does that say, guys? What does that say?
Oh,
Bestseller!
well,
Number one
it's more than just-
international bestseller.
It is a number one international bestseller. We've got number one rankings. There are like 7 categories in the US, and then Canada and Australia also had number one rankings. So
Thank you.
welcome to being #1 international best-selling authors.
Mhm.
Each of you.
Super proud of you guys. Super proud. And you know what's really funny is that this is our 5th anthology that we have published ourselves, and each of our anthologies have been #1 international bestseller.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, I have a music. Wait, I think I have a music. Can you hear anything? Hold on, hold on, hold on. You hear it?
Very soft.
I'm gonna be dancing by myself. Of desire. I'm dancing by myself because you can't hear my music.
Paulette.
Congrats, everybody.
Oh, hi.
Hello, you sis.
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you guys.
So,
Um,
Paulette, you are now a #1 international best-selling author.
Good job, guys. Good job. Oh, there's Paulette. she
Yeah.
has her show engine.
She
You have
made it.
it now too. I wrote this differently. If you go back, sister, real quick on the book cover, I wrote it differently than all of our books. Usually, what I do is I write all the names and then we have words in the back. I think all of our books is like that, even Rebel with a Cause, right? But this one, because there's not that many of us, which I love, because I was able to do it this way. So I wrote each and every one of your name on there, and what actually you guys like, a little short synopsis of what you did. But I also, this is the only anthology that I'm putting print in color. And I'm working on putting it not just in color, but also another format. It's called hardcover format, but it's kicking my butt on the cover right now. So I'm working on that. Okay, just be grateful. I do everything: book cover, description, everything. So this is my first time to put it on a hardcover, because it's in color. Like, why wouldn't you want a hardcover of in color, right? And maybe I am a little bit selfish because my dog is pictures is in there. I'm like, I want her picture to be in color. And then Paulette, OM G. So she gave me this picture. It was so beautiful, but it was so blurry. I'm like, I know there's beautiful face under that blurry picture. So I fixed it. It was so clear. I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine getting this in print? So I'm just saying. And then Susanna's like, I would, when I saw this picture, I don't know if I would recognize Paulette. I'm like, yeah, I can see. You see the eyes, the nose, like we were just talking about it. Yeah, you're on TikTok right now and you're on Instagram. I'm like, hey, look at this picture with Jay, and look at Paulette and Homer. Like, you guys literally are leveled up to. And then I want you guys to record your chapter so I can elevate you to 6 continents and 140 countries. Let's get those 500,000 downloads.
So how you doing, Paulette? It's how was the experience in a couple minutes? Because I want to make sure you talk.
Okay, very quickly. It was the strangest thing I've ever done in my life. I sat there with a piece of paper and a pen and went, what am I doing? Because I'm not writing a children's book. I'm not writing a piece about my family or me or the what happened in my life or anything like that. I was like, where do I start? And I thought, I'm going to do a poem. And then I was thinking, oh, Jay's the expert on poems. I can't write a poem if Jay's going to be in the book. But anyway, I just went with it. And I was so pleased with the outcome. And I'm glad I did it, because I probably would never have done it. And I might never do it again because it's not easy. But you know what? There's not a lot of things rhyme with autism, just so you know. There was a few other words in there that I really struggled trying to rhyme with. But yeah, no, it was a great experience. And you guys, you make it all so easy. So it's always wonderful.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for everybody that watched, because I know we're at the 10 o'clock Pacific time, real time, Mikey. And I know CJ and I have to go because we have academics next. So still working on books. What can I say? But I'm glad everybody was here and that you all got to hear that you are #1 international best-selling authors. Whether it's the first time, second, or more, that doesn't matter. It's just you've got it, and nobody can take that away from you. No matter what anybody might try and say, you are a #1 international best-selling author, and you should be proud of what you've done.
Yeah.
Lord.
And people will correct you. It's not really a real book because it's in an anthology. I'm like, did you write it? Did you write my chapter? You didn't, right? Okay. Anyway, bye. Like, seriously. Be proud of what you do and continue your writing journey. I really want to inspire you to continue your writing journey.
Absolutely.
And Colette is a poet and didn't know it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I look at her, and when she says never, it's like, no, never say never.
Yeah, and it was so
They
funny because when you were editing her thing, she's like, I don't understand. Like, and then when I read it, and you're like, oh, it's perfect. Just read it. That was kind of cool. The reading part, I think, that really made it like stick. I'm dramatic when I read. That's all. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're better. At that
Perhaps
than I
you should read it for me.
So I'm gonna close it, and then, like I said before, I
guys.
got Jay on next week, so it's gonna be a lot of fun talking storytelling.
Awesome.
Nice.
We'll have Thursday tomorrow. No, Wednesday's tomorrow. Thursday, we'll have you guys back again on my TV show. This one will go to Amazon, Apple, Roku, Fire TV. So I will invite the co-authors again, but I have a different questions for you guys on that show. I'll see you guys Thursday.
And it looks like we got like 600
Bye. Cafe.
looks like
Bye,
there's so many
guys.
people, friends.
I know because I already sent
Take
them.
care.
I
Bye-bye.
know. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.